The show is made possible in part by its supporting sponsors: Blue Water Power Group of Companies, Joe's Discount Tire, and AskGuy.ca. A visit to the ISO bar downtown, thanks to them for giving us the space here. And this guy right here, I interviewed him a long time ago, but it was brief. And I really had to twist his arm to be here today. Someone I've known for over 30 years. The legendary Paul Maedel. Thanks so much for being here, buddy.
No, thanks for
And it is
me.
Maedel, right?
To me, it's Maedel. To my brother, it's Maedel.
Right, okay.
So you can't go wrong.
And then, but then you get called Metal.
I get called a lot.
Right, you get called a lot.
Yeah.
You, boy, there's so much we could talk about. And I know you're like, I know you're not one of those limelight kind of guys. You like to, but that's your personality too. You just like to do for everybody else, I find, and make sure you do the best you can, that everybody else has what they need.
If everybody else is happy, I'm happy.
Yeah.
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 That's the way.
It's pretty simple philosophy.
Yeah, it is. I got a little bit of a frog in my throat, so I'm kind of odd. You have to forgive me if I'm a little.
That's okay. That's okay. Let's go, and it's typical, back to the beginning. Where were we born? Where are you from?
I was born in the big city of Moncton, Ontario.
Yeah.
Population at the time was like around 500.
Yeah. I've been there.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, a lot of people have been there, but they don't know it. It's right on 23 Highway between Mitchell and Listowel, and they go north, and they drive through Moncton, but they don't know they've been there.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. So, yeah, that was where I was born. My wife, Fern, actually is from just outside of town. Her parents had a farm.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. And we hooked up.
We hooked up. I love
A
how
number of years
that's
ago.
a way to say it, right? We hooked up.
Well, pretty much.
Yeah. But what was life like growing up? Like, was it fun? Was it good?
Those days will never be back again. I feel sorry for kids now that don't get the pleasure that we had.
Right.
It was the cell phones. There was no cell phones. There was no. The rules at my house were like change your clothes before you go out and play after school.
Right. Right.
And be home around dark.
Yeah.
And don't smoke or drink.
Right. So we broke a couple of those rules.
Yeah, a couple. Yeah. But man, it was so much fun. Everybody in the small town knew everybody.
Mm.
We hung around together. It was, I don't know, it was just, you just don't see it now. Now everybody's going, they don't even talk to each other. They're always, they text each other from here to the door.
Right.
Yeah.
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 Do you think we could ever bring that back? I mean, I don't think technology is going to go backwards, but do you think that a parent could sort of force that to happen?
I don't think so.
No.
No, because, I mean, the parent can't be with the people all the time.
Well, no.
And once the kids are out on the street, it's all the peer pressure and all that stuff. They all have their phones, and they'll be using that phone.
Yeah.
I don't think it'll ever be that way again. It's too bad.
So how do we keep? Because a lot of that is community, right? You know, it takes a community to raise a child, all that sort of stuff, right? And I still believe that, even more so now, to be true. Is there something we can do though to make sure that we stay connected properly?
You're talking like kids?
Anybody, really?
Anybody?
Yeah.
Well, kids, I don't know much about anymore. I'm a little past that.
Right?
Yeah. But I do know adults sporting events. I mean, like to participate in a sport or volunteer in something to go out and be around people. That's great. I like, for instance, you might hear me talk about pool occasionally today.
Yeah.
But pool, I've made hundreds of friends through pool that I would never have met. And some of them are really good friends, and I wouldn't give up anything for the friendships that I made. Yeah.
That's what pool really is, a social. I mean, there's a lot to it, but the social side of it. I know for me too. Like I played years and years ago, but I learned that I'm a better observer than a player. So.
Oh, you do okay.
But I do okay. But yeah, I really enjoy that too, and I think I think it is one of those sports that is left that does have that to it. Like, like hockey does a little, there's
Yeah.
parent, but it's the same people all the time. When you go to a pool tournament, you're seeing people that maybe you only see them once a year because it's a tournament in,
True.
big city or something.
Yeah, from London. They're from all over Ontario.
Yeah.
Some and Quebec.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right. From all over. So then you met Fern or you hooked up, so to speak.
Yeah.
How long was it before, like, was that a love at first sight? And Fern's sitting in the background, so he has to be honest.
Yeah. Was for her.
Yeah.
Yeah, because of all my charm.
Of course.
Yeah. So I got to admit I was pretty interested when I first saw her.
Yeah.
Yeah, she came into town one day, and I was working for my father. He had the super test station in Moncton.
Mm-hmm.
That was my first job, and she happened to be walking down the street to the gas station, and we met, and we went out a couple times. It was pretty good.
Yeah.
So it took quite a while until we got married, but
But did you know pretty quickly that
I had no idea.
she's the one?
She did.
She told you.
She told me. She said she's told me that she said that was the guy, and so
Yeah.
she knew. Me, I was too young and stupid. I was out having a really good time drinking it,
Yeah.
whatever. So eventually, I learned though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that a pretty good choice, I would say.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was. I couldn't have found anybody better, I don't think.
Yeah. And then from that to getting married, and of course you had a family.
Yes, we got the 3 girls,
Yeah.
and you're going to probably find out if you ask questions that I'm terrible with dates. I can't remember any of their birthdays. I don't know how old they are. I can remember one was born in 1967 because that's the centennial year.
Right.
I don't know what month. I don't know. how
And they're
old that
laughing
makes
right now, going, "It's true, David. It's totally
it's
true." Yeah.
Yeah. Me and dates just don't mix. My father, when he passed away, I was devastated. I said, this is one day I will never forget.
Mhm.
I'll remember the date forever. 4 days later,
Yeah.
I couldn't remember the date.
Yeah. Were you close with your dad?
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And your mom?
both, yeah.
Yeah.
I get emotional thinking about it.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, he was my buddy. He was my baseball coach. We played cards together, crokinole together. We drank together.
Yeah.
He was a really good guy.
Wow. That's amazing.
Yeah.
And to be close to both, I think that's kind of a rare thing too. I mean, not that one doesn't like the other, but it's usually like one you're closer either with your dad than you were your mom. But it sounds pretty equal there.
It's pretty equal. She looked after me pretty good.
Yeah.
She treated me decent.
Yeah. Yeah.
Fern says she spoiled me, but
Probably.
she probably did. Yeah.
So you did all this stuff with your dad. What about your mom? What were the kind of things you did with her?
Oh, we didn't really do a lot of things together. We just hung out. She was always in the house, always around. She would look after us, like watching a hockey game. Do you want a coffee? Do you want a
Right,
sandwich? You know, and it's like she,
The old-fashioned way.
yeah.
Yeah. Right.
I mean, what do you do with your mother? I don't know.
Yeah. Whatever she tells you.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
What about, you talked about doing things with your dad was I'll just jump right to what everybody likely knows we're going to talk about is pool. Did that come from your dad?
Not especially. He played. He was not too bad a player, but he didn't encourage me to play pool.
Okay.
I'll be honest with you. I'll tell you how it all happened. Anyway, we lived in Moncton beside a pool hall.
Okay.
Now, the pool hall in Moncton was a town with a population of 500. It wasn't a big place. It had 2 pool tables.
Oh, wow.
That was the pool hall. And you had to be 16 to get in.
Right.
But the old guy that ran the place would kind of like, he'd sit around and we'd sneak in, we thought, and hammer the balls around a little bit, and he'd pretend he didn't see us.
Yeah.
Now, if somebody came in and said, what are they doing in here? He'd go, hey, what are you doing here? Get out of here.
Right.
Oh, yeah. So that was my start to pool. And then that same pool room, an older guy, he took over, he ran it, and he didn't own it, but he ran it. And it was the hang around place for all us teenagers that would like,
Right.
he would do meals in there. Like we would. He was an old hunter and trapper.
Oh, yeah.
And we would go out. We would shoot a squirrel or a rabbit or whatever. Bring it back to the pool room. He'd skin it and clean it up.
A squirrel.
Yeah, a squirrel. Yeah, squirrel. Anything. Anything. I got a story for later.
Yeah.
So anyway, we would all hang out there, and there would be about 6 or 7 or 8 of us. We'd play cards. He'd cook up the rabbit or whatever, coon, squirrel, whatever.
I'm a city boy, so that's what's funny to me. Anyway, sorry.
Coon's actually pretty good. A little fatty, but anyway, that's then I started playing a lot of pool, and I wasn't a booming success in the education field.
Okay.
Like
Yeah.
I pretty much I spent a year going to our high schools in Mitchell. So I would hop on the bus every day at 7 a.m. in the morning in Moncton, try to get the bride to the school. I would get off the bus at the high school, walk uptown to the pool room,
Yeah.
come back at 3:30 and catch the bus back to Moncton. How was school today? Great.
Right.
So every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, I used to go to the pool hall. And like in those days, they didn't really call your house every day, or so. They really didn't know that I was doing this until I got my report card.
Right. And then
I was told I should maybe wisen up a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You were told, or were you?
Actually, he was pretty good. He did just tell me.
Yeah. You don't think he knew that you were doing that until the report card came out? I mean, small town, people talk.
Yeah, but that's in Mitchell. That's 10 miles away.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I suppose.
Yeah, and in Mitchell, who cares?
Right.
They won't even know me.
Yeah.
In those days, you know how long ago that is.
Yeah, right.
That's like 50 years ago.
Right.
So people wouldn't know you, and if they did, they wouldn't care.
People minded their own business.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was my start, and I found that I liked it.
And where was this? Let's paint the picture, because the movies paint the picture of a pool hall, the smoky room, and there's the one table over there. It's got the brighter lights and the best cloth, and that's where the hustler is, and all that. Was that? I know there was only 2 tables there, but
one was a Boston table, and one was a snooker table.
Yeah.
It was a 10-foot, I believe. I don't think it was 12, and they were about equal.
Yeah.
But there was smoking was big then.
Yeah, right.
I mean,
everybody smoked.
You open the door and the smoke would float, and there was actually no women or ladies around. It was all men.
Yeah.
That's changed a ton.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's.
Yeah. Were you a hustler?
No, I wasn't really good.
Yeah.
I was average, maybe.
So what kept you going? Because I mean, sometimes people, they do something, 2-3 years, and they're like, I'm not getting any better. I'm okay. I might as well give this up.
Well, from those days, like I said, my first job was with my father at the super test station, and then I done a little bit of everything.
Yeah.
I've done Cox Construction doing curb and gutter work. I've done Department of Highways back in the pits weighing trucks. I worked at Crowler's Furniture, making furniture in Stratford. I've done Spinrite Yarns and Dyers in Stratford.
Wow.
Actually, I spent 5 years there, and I really liked it. I got promoted up to supervisor, so it was good. And then my uncle, he came to me, and he was in the amusement business.
Yeah.
And in those days, there was a lot of pinball machines and
Yeah.
jukeboxes and 10-cent jukeboxes and 25-cent
Pinball,
video. Yeah. In fact, videos, there wasn't any. I was around for the first Space Invaders.
Right.
Yeah.
Played that for hours. A lot of
Space
quarters.
Invaders
I remember
back
breaking into my dad's piggy bank just so I could go to Lots of Fun or Jimmy's Arcade.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he asked me if I wanted to work for him, because I used to go to his place, and I'd travel with him in the summertime when there were summer holidays, so I wasn't at school.
Right.
So
Right.
I would travel with him and help him or watch him fix machines.
And how old were you at this point?
14.
Yeah,
maybe
yeah,
then,
right, okay.
13, 14. And I'd watched him, and I got interested in it. And he lived in Sarnia at the time, and I was living in Moncton.
Yeah.
So he decided he was going to put a pinball machine into my father's garage. Like there was a restaurant there, room for a pinball.
Oh yeah.
And if he gave me the key for it, and if anything went wrong, if it was something simple, he would tell me he would let me fix it. If I couldn't fix it, I would talk to him on the phone. He would tell me what to do, and if that still didn't work, he'd have to drive to Moncton 2
Right.
hours. But
Right.
so he hoped I could fix it. But anyway, after that, he when I was working in Listowel, he said that he was looking for some help, and would I be interested in working for him? And I was pretty secure in Listowel, and I didn't mind the job, except that they switched me from night shift. I'd done 5 years of nights. It was 11 to 7 every day. They switched me to days, and all the big higher ups were walking around in the daytime, and it wasn't quite as easy as that night. So I didn't care for it quite as much.
Mm-hmm.
And when he asked me if I would work for him, I said, "Pay me what they're paying here, and you got a deal." So he offered me a little bit more, gave me a company car,
Oh wow.
and said, "Come on."
And you're
to
how
work."
old?
At that time, I was 18.
Yeah,
or
but
so
still,
by that
even
time,
18, you're in
19,
company
yeah.
car. You're big. You're a big deal now.
Oh, I'm the hugest thing you ever saw. Right here.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So then this was a change then, a crossroad in life.
Yeah, it was big time. We were living in, we were in Moncton then. After we got married, we did move to Listowel for a while.
Mhm.
Lived in an
Listowell's a
apartment.
great little town.
It's not too bad. Yeah, that's where Spinrite is, of course, the
Yeah.
yarn tires. So then we moved back to Moncton. Lived in the house that I was raised in when I was a kid.
Oh wow.
Yeah, well, that was interesting. Where was I going with all this? I don't know, but
It was a crossroad, so we're
Yeah.
talking, yeah.
because from there I went and we looked around and we found one of the only houses available in Arkona, Thedford, Forest area. My uncle had moved to Arkona since then, and so I had to be close. And we found one place which I'm still in Thedford,
Right.
and we bought that house.
Yeah.
And
yeah, we'll get to.
but that changed everything, and
Yeah.
I worked for him for like 5 years,
Mhm.
and he was pretty busy. He done a lot of campgrounds,
Right.
and he would do the little arcade rooms were in campgrounds because pinballs and videos were really big then.
Yeah.
And then they started to slow down, and campgrounds changed a bit. They became more permanent rather
Yeah,
than
yeah.
transient.
But I
And
remember those, like, I lived out at Blackwell Side Road in the Golden Mile there when I was a boy, and there was a KOA campground down Blackwell Side Road.
Yeah.
And I would sneak out of the house at night and go down there and play, I don't know what it was,
A couple of video games.
well, Space Invaders was there, but there was the, what's the one, Asteroids?
Asteroids, Galaga.
Oh, Galaga. Take you on Galaga any day of the week. But yeah, those were popular for sure.
Yes, they sure were. In those days, like you could put any video game out there. It didn't matter if it was good or not.
Yeah.
And they would still.
Well, it was new technology,
Yeah.
right?
And then it became like you had to change them every 3 months because they were old and boring and nobody would play them.
Yeah.
And they
yeah.
became more expensive.
Mhm.
And then you couldn't make any money.
Right.
So that kind of went. But anyway, he laid me off after 5 years because he got slow and couldn't afford to keep me.
Right.
And he knew some people in Sarnia, and he called up Bel Air Amusements, which was old Ralph, not old Ralph, because Ralph was the son.
Yeah.
Dan
Yep.
Bel Air and Ralph,
Yep.
and asked them if they needed a hand.
I remember the stickers on the video game. I could see.
Bel Air Amusements.
Bel Air Amusements,
Yeah. And they asked if they could use a hand, and they called me up and asked me if I wanted a job, and I said, "Today?
Yeah, right. Today would be good.
Yeah,
Like a bills to pay.
I'll be there tomorrow." Yeah, yeah, for sure. Because I've been off. I was lucky. I only off for 2 weeks, but 2 weeks of not working drove me nuts. I
Yeah.
couldn't do it.
Well, and then the bills don't stop. Right?
No, they don't.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then I came to Sarnia. They treated me pretty good too.
Yeah.
And that's really when I started playing pool, because I started playing against the big city guys. Like,
Yep.
I'm in the 500 population of Moncton, coming to Sarnia where all the stars are, the
Yeah.
big guys.
Yeah.
And I thought, I can never win a game here because Sarnia's so big and they'll all be
Yeah.
great.
Yeah.
And turned out that I won a few games.
Yeah.
And,
Major mark.
well, not much of a mark, but I got interested in it. And then from there it went to Mott's bought it. It was Terry Mott was running it.
Oh, yeah.
He's since passed.
Yeah.
They ran it, and I worked for them for a few years, and then his brother Jim bought it, or Dwight rather. And I did work at the Bunsen burner for a while.
Oh, the Bunsen burner. My
Yeah,
goodness.
we
There's one I haven't heard in a while.
when Jim and Terry had it,
Yeah.
the amusement company.
Mhm.
They put a little office in the back of the Bunsen burner for me to repair stuff in there.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that was my home. Yeah. And they treated me really good. They gave me vehicles, which I was a little hard on. And they, anyway, it turned out that I was talking to a couple of customers, and one was Ernie Mason.
Really?
Ernie Mason,
Mason,
from the
wow.
pub in the Grove.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that place was a hopping place.
It sure was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Ernie told me, he says, "Why are you doing this?" He says, "Why don't you start your own business?"
Yeah.
I said, "I can't do that. I got nothing." He said, "Well, start your business. I'll switch from Mott's, and you can put your stuff in my building."
Yeah.
So I started to think about it, and I asked John Coalition and at Balmoral,
Yep.
Mary and Leon at Sarnia Tavern,
Mm-hmm.
and they both said, "We don't owe those guys anything. You've been coming here for 5 years every day. We know you. We trust you. We want to deal with you."
Okay.
So I went to the bank and got very, very lucky.
Yeah.
I didn't tell them I was not working because I was going to quit. But anyway, they give me enough
It
money.
worked a little differently back then too.
Yes, it did. Oh, it was huge, huge difference.
Yeah.
So they,
And how did that go though? Like, did you have any feeling of like, well, these guys brought me in? Like, did you feel bad?
of course, I feel bad,
But-
but I mean,
Did they still talk to you when you started doing it?
okay, kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah. If we met, they would hi.
Sure.
Yeah, but you got to picture Jim and Tom Mott and Dwight all having at that time the garage across the street, the Mott's garage.
Right. Yeah.
The leasing where they're leasing to all
Sure.
the big
They were doing
yachts,
okay.
and the Bunsen burner.
Yeah.
Yeah, they weren't hurting.
Yeah.
This was just like nothing for them. It was
Right.
like they were probably happy to see me go.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So it turned out pretty good. I
Well,
don't
it's interesting though. Like you talked about, like going to these, the Sarnia Tavern, these places, Balmoral. And you had built relationships
yes.
with people, and one thing I've noticed about you for all the years, like I was a teenager when I met you, but observing and looking back on that, I see, there's a guy. He makes relationships with everybody. And I mean everybody. And when I say that, it's like sometimes we only talk to people we like. and I'm not saying like there's all people we'd rather talk to than others.
Yes.
But you talk to everybody.
I try to, yeah.
Regardless. And you don't seem to, there's no judgment in you, it doesn't seem.
No, I'm no better or no worse than anybody. I don't care. I feel sorry for the homeless people, and people might not like what I say, but
Yeah.
I mean, there's some.
You don't
bad
really care what
feelings.
anybody says, though, do you, Paul?
Well, not kind of.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Like,
Yeah.
you're not here to upset anybody, but
See-
you want to call it how it is.
Yeah, I don't like to be talked bad about.
Yeah.
Of course, I like people to think of me as somebody that's a half decent guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I don't judge people by how much money they've got,
Right.
or I'll talk to if somebody that has borrowing $5 off me, or somebody's got $1 million. We're all the same.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. That's a good way to be. I mean, really, I mean, I think a lot of people could take a lesson from that, you know, like we've become so materialistic and gotta haves and whatever. And don't get me wrong, I think it's okay to have nice, cool things. You don't need to brag about it. You don't need to say, look at what I got and you don't, right? But
Well,
earned is earned.
I've never had enough to brag about, but one thing I can say is I do believe in karma,
Mm-hmm.
and for any of the good things I've done, I've been rewarded pretty good.
Tenfold at least.
Yes, I've had some really, really good things happen to me from people who didn't have to do anything but help me out. I can't say names or what's going on, but
I got a pretty good idea.
but you might be surprised.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was but for people to do what they do to me, how could you not do something back?
Yeah.
That's
Well, you've had at least with me, and I know for sure, and you, many people that I've talked to over the years, like me, you believed in me.
sure.
Put it this way, right? You know, when I was young, starting karaoke and all that stuff, and I remember you hired me to do a couple of events and a couple of the Duke cruises, and that was at a young time in my career, and I wasn't sure where, you know, and there was people more than just you, but you were one of those people that said, hey, I'm going to help that guy out. Did that come from some of those jobs that you talked about? Like somebody gave you an opportunity? Did you feel like they believed in you enough to go, wow, here's a company car, here's a...
I never really thought of that. I just thought of like when I heard you singing, I go like, oh, this guy's awesome, man. I do believe I told you that.
Yeah, you have.
Maybe
You have.
several times.
Several times.
You should be a pro singer.
Yeah,
You should,
I appreciate that.
And like, how can I not say it if it's true?
I kind of was, because I did it 5 nights a week.
I
But
mean,
I know what you mean.
Go on stage.
go be-
or
yeah,
go to
I know.
Hollywood. Or,
Yeah, right. I don't know. I think life might get too complicated
yeah, mate.
with that. But yeah, no, I appreciate that. And you've done that for many people that I've talked to, especially when it comes to, you know, like when you do recognize somebody's in a tough position, maybe financially, but you see like maybe help them out with a pool cue or maybe a few bucks here to enjoy themselves because you know they're out. Like it's just those tiny little things that you do that has a huge. Anybody who watches the show knows I always talk about impact and relationships, and if you put those two together, you can change the world. And I'm not sure that you realize that the impact you've had on so many people, you and Fern, right, together, and people look up to you so much, both of you. You don't see it, do you?
No.
No, and I give it
I can
to both
I
of
can
you.
see people looking up to her.
Yeah, well, she's really nice.
She's so yes. She's nice. She's polite.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
But seriously, I don't think I'm not even sure either one of you really realize. I can tell by the look on your face. You're like, me? Like, what do I do? But it's those. See, I've said you can change the world, but it doesn't have to be the whole world. It could just be one person's world.
Well, that would be it.
Right. And that's I know for me. I could go on about so many stories that you probably don't even know what you've done for me, and I've seen it with others as well, right? It's that belief that you have in people and that non-judgmental persona that you have, both of you, and that goes a long way with people. Like especially with all the crap that's going on right now. You talk about the homelessness, and and we won't go down the rabbit holes of politics and
let's do that.
all that. Yeah, we could. I'd be a long first goal. We do that over a beer. But I mean, with all the crap that's going on, it's so easy to fall into the negative side of people, than
Oh,
going, well, you don't do any of that.
I try not to, but I got to tell you that it's getting harder.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
Like, I've been dealing with the public for like pretty near 50 years, I
Right.
guess, and sometimes people are kind of rude, or
He's
and
being polite, folks.
it gets harder to be
Sure.
to smile at those people.
Yeah.
But the people that are genuine, and they say, like, not they call me up and they ask me questions. They say, "I'm sorry, I'm asking a stupid question." Well, if you don't know, it's not stupid.
That's
You know,
right.
I don't get mad at that. I get upset at some other things that.
It says it's your first night, you're an 8 for the next 3 weeks. And if you annoy me, it's for the next 5.
I'll show you that message. Just got it.
Right?
Yeah, no. That's,
From
I'm
somebody who's been doing it and playing in the league for 10 years.
That's the part. Yeah.
Right.
The ones that know. But anyway, that's part of the job.
Sure, and what you do is a business, right? So you do have to still, you pay the mortgage, the bills, like you get the same bills as everybody else, right? And go ahead.
One guy that really ticked me off.
Here
This
we
is
go.
many, many years ago. Was a guy in Brights Grove. I won't mention any names. Okay, this guy, I walk into the pub in the Grove, which Ernie was running at the time, and this guy Ernie says to me, "You got to go talk to that guy because he's going around saying you're stealing from the pool league." I said, "Well, really?" He says, "Yeah." He says, like, he's telling everybody you're putting thousands of dollars in your pocket.
Oh,
So
please tell me where.
I thought, I better check this out.
Yeah.
So I went over and I asked the guy, I said, "Is this true? You're saying that I'm taking money from the pool league?" And he says, "Yeah." He says, "You don't have to be a genius to figure it out." And he says, "Do the math." I said, "Well, you show me the math." So we got a prize board out, and he started figuring out how much I paid out. And first of all, he figured out how much was coming in, because that's easy to figure out.
Right. So $10
Times whatever.
times
Yep.
whatever. Yeah.
So we figured that out. And then he says, "Okay, this is what you're paying out." And I said, "Well, that's it?" And he says, "Yeah." I said, "Well, now wait a minute." I said, "First of all, there's A division, B division, C division, E division." There was
Right.
we had about 5 or 6.
Yeah, I remember
6
that.
divisions.
Yeah, there were. Yeah.
And he was taking what I was paying one division, and the rest were all getting the same pay.
Right.
But he didn't multiply times 6.
Right.
He won, which made thousands of dollars that he said I was putting in my
Right.
pocket. I just, I did get a little upset about him. I shouldn't have got upset because it was so stupid. It wasn't even anybody would know.
Yeah.
But I just don't like being called a thief or
Right.
dishonest.
Yeah. No, I hear you.
Yeah. But anyway,
Call me out.
yeah,
And
sure.
let's sit
Yeah,
down and have
tell
an
me I'm
adult
stupid. I'm
conversation.
fine.
Show me why you think. Yeah, you
Yeah.
handled that right. But
Yeah.
that was a younger you though too, wasn't it? Like you said, that was a long time
that's
ago.
quite a while ago. Yeah,
So you wouldn't have handled that way, like even 10 years ago, would you?
probably.
But you wouldn't have got as upset about it.
Well, I always get upset if somebody calls me a thief.
Well, no, but I mean about the part about like you said, well, you got upset because this was stupid. I shouldn't have got as upset as I did.
Yeah, I guess I don't.
Being called a thief though, that's like,
That's pretty.
call me a murderer, but call me a thief.
Yeah,
Seriously, that's harsh. Right?
it is. Yeah.
It is.
And
Especially
actually-
when you know. I think that's the other side of you too that people really appreciate is your level of integrity.
Yeah. I'd like to think that I can look any pool player in the eye and say I haven't ripped you off.
Right.
And I can do that.
Yeah, you
and,
can.
And I don't feel bad about it.
Yeah.
Um,
And of course, then you've had, it hasn't always been good and fun. I mean, financially,
it's been tough.
run
yeah.
into some obstacles, and again, still got the bills keep coming, so you got to keep paying. So, and you do a lot of traveling around because you've had things all over.
Put a lot of miles on. Yeah.
Right, and then some partnerships along the way to help, and then figure things out. But you just always seem to manage. You're like the cat that lands on its feet all the
Yeah.
time, right?
Yeah,
How do you
I'm
think it
lucky.
is that you've been able to do that?
Luck.
You think it's luck?
Well,
I mean, your partnership with Fern, I mean, obviously you two are driving together. You're like,
once again, luck. I'm lucky she accepted
well,
me.
you're lucky she told you how it was going to be, fella.
Yeah. No, I think you have to be lucky. You have to get some breaks, and
Yeah.
I think it's probably just the way I treat people. Like when I started, like you said, way back to the Belle Morale, up in the Grove, those three places that I started with, they would. I had no danger or no fear of being kicked out of those places because they believed that I was good with them, and I was doing the best for them.
Good relationships.
Yes. So, and then as word got out, and then more locations asked me if I wanted to put stuff in their bar.
Mm-hmm.
It just
well, and you had say you had the video games for the Street Fighters, the one I remember. I know you know the story, but they don't. When I was in high school, I worked at it was the weekend dance hall. Tom Sameta and Vic Agar had it, and they decided to do this little arcade thing in that building there, where I think it's the Bible Mission now or whatever on Murphy Road there.
Yeah.
It was Tequila Rocks at one time or whatever. And you would come in and collect the money, fix the machines, whatever. And it was hi Dave, and there was hardly anybody there once in a while. And then, but you always left me like
click,
20 credits on the machine.
Here you go.
I don't know if it's because you felt bad I was bored, but boy, did I ever get good at Street Fighter. And then, through the years, there were, I didn't see you for a while, of course, but then as Circle of Life come around back in the bar business and then pool league business, and every girl that you've known I've been married to was always a better pool player than me.
They were good.
They
are good.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah.
So that was, for me, that was the long-term relationship to come back around, and then I remember you recognized, oh yeah, I remember you, and whether you did or not, I don't know at the time.
Sure I did.
But don't sell yourself short on the value that you brought to this community. You might think I'm not a big community guy, but in what you do in the pool league, that is a huge community. People like to feel like they belong somewhere. We all want to be picked for the team, and you and Fern have been able to do that in what you do. And it shows off in your family. I know your three daughters, two I know better than the other, but and grandkids. Are the grandkids keeping you young?
No, I don't see them that much. Do we? Occasionally. Well, if some of the grandkids I see, like I've got one grandkid that helps me out moving pool tables now.
Oh, yeah.
Whenever I need a hand, I call him. He's the guy. He has a scrawny little guy, but tough as nails and strong. And he has learned how to handle a pool table.
Oh, yeah.
He is probably smarter around it than I am.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's good. That's Zach. That's
right.
Laura's son. He's pretty awesome. We get together once in a while with the family, and we do see each other more than some people. Maybe less than others.
Well, you he probably learned some things from you. One thing I learned from you about moving a pool table is don't do it. So I remember you moved my father's pool table, and I was asking for a favor, and you're like, and is it straight down? And we figured all this stuff out, and oh my goodness, I did
straight in,
yeah.
Straight in.
No little
straight.
curves, and
it's not straight down.
Right.
Straight in. Straight in.
And if somebody asks you to move a pool table, don't think about it. Say nope. And there's some stories there for sure of how you got pool tables in, but. I want to shift gears now.
Sure.
There's, you talk about relationships and people you've met over the years, and there's two that I know are very special to you as well. Well, three probably, but Dave Cody.
Yeah, he's big.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, and they're going to say Terry McCarver.
Yeah. Terry McCarver.
And maybe John Davis.
John Davis for sure. Yeah.
And there's
Those are the
there's
three that really
one
stand
more.
out to me. Okay.
Ron Raymaker.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Those guys, I'll never forget them.
Unique each in their own way.
Very. Yeah. All great guys.
Yeah. What would you? So let's go through them. Dave Cody. What would you say?
Dave Cody, what a man. He's a legend.
Right.
He was the biggest mouth.
Fern knows.
He could get Fern crying in no time flat. Yeah. Okay.
Heart of gold.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Heart of gold.
But usually he didn't have a lot of gold. He wanted gold. He'd like to borrow it. But
when I was 16.
He pay back.
Yeah.
Yeah, when I was 16.
Yeah. Terry McCarver.
Terry McCarver. Oh, he's one of the most generous men.
Right.
All the parties he threw at his place and
never asked for nothing.
Never asked for a thing. His wife would do all the.
Yeah.
It was Terry's party.
Yeah.
And Dot would work for 3 days, cooking, baking, setting things up.
I saw her the other day, actually.
Did you?
Yeah. We had a good chat.
She was awesome.
Yeah. And then
John
Davis.
John, he was more quiet.
He was.
Yeah. Another good pool. Well, they were all good pool players.
Yeah.
But John, he was more like he'd like to be with his dog Clancy.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. He had the Airedale. I don't know if you knew that or not. But and that was his life.
Right.
This was in the later years. He kind of liked just sitting around with Clancy and doing his crossword puzzles. He was the genius at crosswords.
Mm-hmm.
And his demise was very sad. He had it was Alzheimer's,
Mm-hmm.
but it was another form of it that was much more. It acted more quickly. And
it was rapid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he went from being a guy that could run a table in a heartbeat. When I went to see him, still.
Yeah, take him home.
Yeah, it still bothers me. He would say, "Oh, look, John, we'd be walking." He couldn't hardly even talk to him. Wasted away to nothing. John, pool table, you want a game? Okay. So I racked him up. Okay, John, your break. And he didn't know which end of the cue to hold.
Yeah.
He had the big end out.
That was
he didn't
hard
know
to
what
see.
ball to shoot.
Yeah.
It was horrible. But anyway.
And then Ron Raymaker.
Another one.
Yeah.
Terry was cancer as well. Ron was cancer. And Dave, another cancer. They were all cancer.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they all.
Yeah. That's what I think probably makes it all worthwhile for you sometimes, right? Is all of the relationships that you have made, but there's those specific, unique ones that stand out that go, yeah, I'm glad it was around for this or whatever. Because did you, aside from the pool, a lot over the years, did you have other opportunities come your way and you just said, no, I think I'm happy right where I'm at? Or was it just always pool?
It was pretty much always pool.
Yeah.
Nobody ever come up to me and said, do you want to do this?
Yeah.
And I never looked for anything else.
No, okay.
I was happy. I'm still happy.
Yeah.
I love my job.
Yeah.
I'm just the pool tables are getting heavier.
Right. Right. Yeah.
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 But I've never looked around, and we don't make enough to and that's another thing. I can't retire probably because I got to keep working because to do what I want to do.
Would you want to retire right now?
No. Yeah.
I'm asking you, not Fern.
Yeah. She's.
I know that's tough to answer, right?
She is, but I'm sort of like. I like this job. I like going out. I like talking to people. I like being in the bar. I like playing pool.
Yeah.
I like getting paid for it. Why would I go do? Why would I not give away everything?
You've been able to do a little bit of traveling too. Like I know, like out to Newfoundland recently, I think, or was that a couple of times you've been? Or?
Well, we've been there 3 or 4 times.
Yeah,
I think. Yeah, we've been east a lot.
Yeah, you like it then.
Yeah, Fern had a friend in Nova Scotia, and she's since passed too. But we went and visited her, and she opened up her house. Her husband knew the whole province like the back of his hand.
Yeah.
And we saw stuff that you would
Great guy
never
to
see,
know.
never see. Yeah. He's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
He's still around. And then we did Prince Edward. We did them all, Prince Edward, New Brunswick, Nova Scotia. And then we found Newfoundland, and I always thought Nova Scotia was the best. Now I kind of think Newfoundland's not so bad, you know.
I've been to Nova Scotia, and I never knew, like, people always said, I think I talked to you guys before I went on that trip, and you're like, you're going to love Nova Scotia. They're so friendly. Like, they'll open the door, they'll feed you, they'll do whatever. And then I remember you came back and you said, Newfoundland, though, wow. What like, because we think, I don't know, I think, you know, Sarnia, we're pretty nice or whatever, but everybody's like, no, you go out there and it's just a whole different world. Is it old school? Is that what you'd call it? Or
yeah, probably.
Yeah.
One thing I do remember is we were going for a drive in Newfoundland, and we were I can't remember where it was or what area, but you could see whales from the shore, and we pulled over to look at something, and my car quit. So me being the mechanic I am, I lifted the hood and I went.
Right. Fern's going, all right, we're screwed.
I was lucky to find a switch for the hood.
Right.
So we left it up for a couple of minutes. I walked around, felt things.
Right.
And there was a guy had a shop right across the road, and he saw that we'd been there for a while with the hood up. So he came over, says, "You having a problem?" And I said, "Yeah, my car won't start." He says, "You don't know what it is?" I said, "No." He says, "Well, I got a small engine repair shop over here." I said, "Let me tow you over there and we'll see if I can figure it out for you." Okay. So he towed us over. His wife came out and she fed us. He spent quite a bit of time looking around, trying to figure out what it was. He finally figured that it was an alternator, I think it was. And he didn't have anything like that at his place. So he says, "I got a friend down the road. It's about an hour down the road. I'll call him and tell him you're coming. He'll fix it for you." He says he closes at 5, but this was like about 4 o'clock.
Right,
quarter after. He says he'll wait for you.
So how did you get down there if the car wouldn't?
He started to give us a boost.
Oh.
The boost started.
Said just don't
as long
stop.
as you kept it running, then
Yeah.
it was okay.
Okay.
So we drove the hour to get there. It was
Please
like
don't
about
stop.
5 when we got there. And the guy took the alternator apart. He put new brushes in and put it all back together and charged me like $15 for the brushes. And that was all. No labor, no nothing.
Wow.
The guy who called his place wouldn't hit for the food, for nothing. For the pull, nothing. No time, no nothing.
Yeah.
Sorry about. Too bad it broke down. Have a good day.
Yeah.
And everybody, they talk. Everybody talks to everybody. I can't stand it. I used to like going out for ice cream, and you stand there looking at an ice cream, going for about an hour talking to somebody you just met.
Yeah.
You know, it was just great there. And the food is pretty good too.
Yeah. Did you stay in touch with these people? Did you keep in contact?
No, we maybe got an address or something, but we just never happened.
Just kept going. Yeah.
I kind of wish I had of, but
yeah.
But
it kind of but it kind of speaks going back to you again. You know what you're like, and I think people see like I want to help that person because I see that they're a good person. Whereas maybe like if you were grumpy that day, maybe he might not have helped you. Do you know what I mean? Like I think we can recognize.
He wanted to help, and he didn't see very much of me. So I think he was going to help anyway.
He was genuine.
Yeah. They're good people.
Sounds to me like, and boy, we could keep going and going and going here.
Sure.
And you were worried that we might not even get 30 minutes out of you.
Yeah.
But your time's up.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Oh man, I have so many stories.
Well, we could go overtime if you want, but I know there's so many more stories that because I've always appreciated popping in wherever you're playing pool or whatever, and you're always around the table, and then you always make time to come over if I haven't yet. And how's it going? And we have our conversations, and they're really important to me.
Well, I like to hang out with famous people.
Oh yeah, right. He calls me world famous, but you're the legend,
Yeah, right.
true legend, and I know people are going to be very grateful for you spending time for the interview, and I'm truly honored that you finally agreed. I know I had to bribe you a little bit, whatever, but we got you here. And Fern, thank you for giving us your time and bringing them here too. So. It didn't hurt that much,
Not
did
so
it?
bad. It was actually a pleasure.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it.
Right on.
Yeah.
Well, then a year from now, we'll do it again.
Well, maybe.
Maybe 6 months. We'll see. We'll save it
We'll
for
see.
the bar. Thanks to all of you so much for watching. This truly has been a pleasure to have Paul here. And now you got to do what I always ask you to do. Click the like, click the love. Please click the share button so we can share Paul's story and everybody else that I have here on the show. Thanks to the iOS bar also once again. But as always, that's all the time I got for you this week. Have a great week and an even better weekend. We'll see you next time right here in the show. Bye for now.
Bye for now.
You want to race to 3 for 100?